When you hear the name Robert Plant, your mind probably jumps straight back to the 70s, right? The golden god of rock.
Bare-chested, that huge voice fronting Led Zeppelin. He's the archetype.
He really is. But here's the thing we're diving into today. Robert Plant is now 77 years old.
Yeah.
And he is not resting. Not at all. He's out there making new and honestly really adventurous music.
And that's the real story, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're not here to just, look back at Zeppelin's greatest hits.
No.
We are diving into what he's doing right now, this new project, Saving Grace. Our whole mission here is to trace the philosophy that's driven him for, 5 decades since Zeppelin. This need for constant musical stimulation.
And his need to avoid what he calls the creative autopilot.
Exactly.
So for our sources today, we've got a great stack. We're looking at all the coverage of the new Saving Grace album, which just came out in September. We've got details from their NPR Tiny Desk concert from just this month.
Yeah, November. And we're also pulling from biographical analysis of his whole solo career to really map out how he got here.
It's a deep dive into what it means to be, as he puts it, a perpetual student, even when you've already passed the final exam of rock and roll.
So what does it sound like when a legend finally finds total creative freedom? Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's start with the most recent thing, the live performance. Just on November 21st, Plant and his band, Saving Grace, did an NPR Tiny Desk concert. I mean, think about it. This is a man whose career peaked playing to hundreds of thousands of people. And now he's crammed in between some office desks and bookshelves. It's a statement.
It says everything about where his head is at now. It's not about the spectacle. It's about intimacy. It's about the music itself. And that 5-song set they did with co-vocalist Susie Diane, it was like a perfect little summary of what this whole project is.
Right. They played traditional tunes, some really deep covers, and one Zeppelin track. But it was so rearranged it almost felt new.
And the choices are so deliberate. Gospel Plow to open, then a cover of Lowe's Everybody's Song, and they finish with Gallows Pole.
Now, Gallows Pole. I mean, Zeppelin fans know that one from Led Zeppelin III. It's an old English folk song.
Exactly. And that's the bridge right there. The new arrangement swaps out Jimmy Page's iconic guitar buildup for acoustic strings and a cello.
Oh, wow.
It connects his past, that deep folk root that was always in Zeppelin, to what he's doing now, this softer, more atmospheric sound. He's not running from the past.
He's just refining it.
He's refining it. And you could tell how relaxed he was. We read about this moment where a kid in the audience dropped a plastic firefighter helmet, and without missing a beat, Plant cracks a joke about Spinal Tap.
The tiny props scene.
That's the one. It just shows you the vibe. It's loose. It's funny. It's the total opposite of the high-pressure world he came from.
So that's the live show. What about the album? The debut, Saving Grace, came out September 26th on None Such Records.
Yeah, and the album really solidifies this unique sound they have. You've got Susie Diane on vocals with him, Ollie Jefferson on drums, Tony Kelsey on guitar, Matt Worley on banjo and strings.
And Barney Morse Brown on cello. It's a really interesting palette.
It's this gorgeous atmospheric folk rock. But the magic is in the source material. Plant calls the album a songbook of the lost and found. They're all reimaginings. And the range is... it's wild.
You've got early blues pioneers like Memphis Minnie and Blind Willie Johnson.
And then right next to them, you have Martha Scanlon, Bob Mosley from Moby Grape, and the indie band Low.
Okay, hold on. You have to stop there. Blind Willie Johnson and Low on the same record. You're spanning, almost 100 years of music? How does he connect those dots?
Well, the way he explains it, the thread is emotional resonance and simplicity. He's looking for songs that he can strip down to their bones and then rebuild with the specific textures of this band. He wants to show you how, the DNA of this old music flows right into the modern stuff.
And this isn't just a one-off studio project. They're a working band.
Very much so. They're finishing a U.S. tour right now, heading to the UK in December, and they're already booked for the Big Ears Festival next March. The energy is there.
Which brings us to the big question, right? Why? Why is a 77-year-old rock god who could be playing stadiums full of his greatest hits doing this?
That's the entire story of his solo career. He built one of the most successful formulas in history and then spent the next 45 years taking it apart piece by piece.
He calls himself the perpetual student.
He does, and he said that the idea of just being a rock singer, and that's the end of that, was, and this is his word, debilitating. For him, it was about survival. He had to choose constant stimulation over the easy nostalgia money. He had to escape the shadow of Zeppelin.
Let's talk about that shadow, the Hammer of the Gods persona. For anyone listening who doesn't know the deep lore, what was he really escaping?
Well, Hammer of the Gods was that mythological scale of Zeppelin, the biggest, loudest band in the world. But it was also creatively restrictive. Plant mentioned that a lot of Zeppelin songs were written in keys built around Jimmy Page's guitar, often in E, which wasn't always the best for his own vocal range.
So even as the most famous singer in the world, he was having to compromise his instrument.
In some ways, yes. He was serving the arrangement. And when the band ended in 1980, he was completely lost. He admits he made some questionable music and had a few dodgy haircuts in the 80s, just trying to figure out who he was without the Zeppelin myth.
And he almost quit music entirely, right?
He did. He seriously thought about becoming a teacher in the Rudolf Steiner system in the early 80s. He just wanted something grounded.
So what brought him back from the brink? Who convinced him to keep going?
Two key people. First, Phil Collins. He played drums on Plant's early solo records and just gave him the push to keep working. But the real turning point was his keyboardist, Phil Johnstone.
How so?
For years, Plant refused to play Zeppelin songs live. He was terrified of becoming a tribute act to himself. But Johnstone showed him he could reinterpret them. Change the keys, change the arrangements, make them his own again.
That's the whole key. Escaping the shadow didn't mean ignoring it.
It meant learning to control it. He realized he could apply what he calls a limber approach to his own history. He could twist it and reshape it. And that unlocked everything that came next.
And his career after that just reads like a series of pivots, right?
Yeah.
Each one designed to move him somewhere new. It really starts with the Honey Drippers in '84.
The Honey Drippers is such a great example. It was this all-star project with Page and Jeff Beck, and they had that huge hit with Sea of Love. But look at the style. It was pure 50s retro pop. A total palate cleanser. It was him saying, look, I can do this sophisticated light stuff too.
So if he wanted to escape Zeppelin, why on earth did he reunite with Jimmy Page in the 90s for No Quarter? I mean, that seems like a step backward.
You'd think so, but it was actually a brilliant counterintuitive move. That reunion wasn't about playing the hits, it was about radical reinvention. No Quarter was his chance to force Zeppelin's music into his new world.
By bringing in the Egyptian musicians.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that wasn't random. He'd been fascinated by North African music for years, ever since he heard the singer Kulthum in Morocco. So even the big Zeppelin reunion had to serve his current obsession with global sounds. It was on his terms.
And that global mindset kind of perfectly set him up for what came next, which was maybe his biggest solo success. The collaboration with Alison Krauss.
Oh, Raising Sand was seismic. It won Album of the Year at the Grammys. It totally reset his identity. Krauss, he said, helped him break out of his old rock cliches.
What did she do?
She forced him to sing with subtlety. He had to ditch the big rock wail and learn to harmonize, to blend, to find nuance in an Americana setting. You can literally hear his voice change after working with her.
Less force, more texture.
Precisely. And that cemented his reputation as this master interpreter. And you can see that restlessness in the band names he kept forming. Priory of Brion, then bringing back Band of Joy for his Americana phase, then the sensational Space Shifters.
The Space Shifters were the ones who really blended the global music with the Americana, right?
Yes, they were the bridge. They brought all those threads together, which gets him ready for what he's doing now with Saving Grace.
Which brings us to this new identity he's created. He's actually coined a term for it. He's calling the sound English Cana.
Which is just brilliant. He's defining it by geography. Instead of Americana, which is rooted in the vastness of the U.S., he's rooting this sound right where they all live, on the border of England and Wales.
So it's tied to what he calls Celtic culture. It's hyperlocal.
And this is where it all connects. See, there's this great intrigue for him in the similarities he hears between that old Celtic folk music and the North African music that captivated him decades ago.
So English Cana is his way of tracing that ancient musical line across continents.
That's the heart of it. And the way they made the album was just as organic. It was recorded really casually between 2019 and 2025 in the Cotswolds and on the Welsh borders.
I read that it started during lockdown. In a field.
Literally.
Yeah.
With a single microphone set up in a field next to Matt Worley's place.
Single mic. In a field. That's about as far from a multi-million-dollar Led Zeppelin production as you can get.
And he loved it.
Mm-hmm.
He said it reminded him of how he recorded some vocals for Physical Graffiti. Just finding a moment of spontaneity. It's about the atmosphere, not the tech.
Which really underscores that this project is about joy and friendship, not commerce.
Absolutely. He says, we laugh a lot. I can't find any reason to be too serious about anything. This is the sound of an artist who has found pure, simple pleasure in making music with his friends.
So when you pull back, the picture of Robert Plant's career isn't really about a rock god clinging to his legacy. It's about a man committed to constant, relentless change. At 77, he's still searching, still refusing to be predictable. He just won't stop singing.
Exactly. And Saving Grace isn't the end of the road. It's just the latest chapter of his ceaseless roar.
Right.
But now it's delivered with this peaceful, pastoral quality. He's proving that the student is, in the end, more interesting than the legend.
And as we wrap up, it's maybe worth thinking about the deep, personal reason behind all this creation. His decision to move back to the UK from Texas wasn't just musical. It was about his family, his kids and grandkids. He needed to be rooted there.
And that connection is everything. You can't separate his drive from his life. Some of his most beautiful songs, All My Love with Zeppelin, his solo song, I believe, they were written for his son, Karak, who died so tragically young. When you hold those two things together, the rock god myth and this profound, lifelong personal sadness, you start to understand why making music is not a choice for him. It's a necessity. It's a way to find truth.
So the final thought for you to take away is this. How does an artist keep that creative fire burning when massive success says you can stop, and immense personal loss might make you want to go silent? That lifelong search for joy and meaning, that's maybe the real measure of his art.